Fourth race weekend of the BMW IBSF Bobsleigh and Skeleton World Cup Tour was again in Innsbruck in Austria. First action of the weekend on a beautiful Friday morning, men's skeleton. Heading into the second and deciding heat, Germany's Felix Kaisinger with a slightly better first heat than last week. 7th place, 27 hundredths off the lead in heat 1. But a great start and a much more composed second run would put him into the lead of the race. Alexander Gassner, his teammate, dropped by the wayside, and then we got to the 5th best finisher from heat 1, world champion Christopher Groothair. Groothair, like Kaisinger, putting together an impressive run. From 12 hundredths of a second behind at the midpoint, he drove his way just in front of his teammate to take the lead with 4 to go. Sammy Meyer of Austria dropped out of contention, going to a career best 6th position. But for Matt Weston, 3rd place after the first heat, the Briton who tumbled from the lead after heat 1 a week earlier, hung on to take the lead of the race with 2 sleds to go, guaranteeing himself his first ever medal. Not bad for his 5th World Cup start. 4th World Cup start for Daniel Romanoff, fastest starter in the competition in heat 1, and he had a handy advantage defending his silver medal position. But lower down in the track it all drifted away, and the Russian rookie almost crashed in the lower labyrinth, dropping down to 4th place with 1 sled to go. That one sled, a 12-time consecutive winner on this track. Would it be unlucky? Number 13 for Martin Stuckers? Not a bit of it. A 10th ahead of Weston from the first heat. He romped to win number 13 in Innsbruck with a 0.2 of a second advantage over Matt Weston. A 13th straight win in Innsbruck and a 58th career gold medal for Martin Stuckers. Weston takes his first ever podium. Christopher Groothair, his first medal here in Innsbruck. But our World Cup leader has had a perfect season. 4 wins from 4 starts. He leads the rankings as we head into the mid-season Christmas break. The weather conditions remain perfect for chasing down track records in the afternoon for the women's skeleton race. Tina Hermann in a tight battle for the medals, the top 6 after the first heat, covered by 18 hundredths of a second, and a 3-time world champion off a 10th best start, easing ahead of Russia's Olena Torarichenko, denying her a top 6 finish. Next up, teammate Jacqueline Lerling. Lerling has had 3 races this season with no medals, her longest period in her World Cup career off the podium. She was behind Tina Hermann from the start and just crept in front by 2 hundredths of a second. There were still 4 sleds remaining. 3 hundredths quicker than Lerling was Elizabeth Meyer, the new mum in only her 2nd race weekend since 2019 World Championships, was back and flying. A 2/10 lead early on though was eroded further down the track as she came across the line a scant 5 hundredths back, enough to drop her 2 spots with 3 to go. Kimberly Bos of the Netherlands has not been off the podium all season long. And again, after 3rd place last week, she was looking for a medal, and she came hunting with big speed down the bottom of the track, creeping away from Jacqueline Lerling to take it by a scant 100th. Another medal guaranteed. Second fastest in the first heat was Italy's Valentina Margaglio. She had dropped down the order to 5th position as the first heat leader and World Cup points leader Janine Flock came to the ice. Last week, mistakes in the only run that counted, heat 2, saw her tied for bronze. There were fewer mistakes this week as she romped away to gold by 21 hundredths of a second. Her 3rd win of the season, the 2nd of her career in Innsbruck, with Kimberly Bos and Jacqueline Lerling completing the podium. But it is Janine Flock from Kimberly Bos and Tina Hermann at the top of the World Cup standings. Saturday morning and again great conditions in Innsbruck as we get ready for action in the women's bobsleigh. Melanie Hassner finished 7th a week earlier. Teamed up with Nadia Pasternak, they had a top 5 start and a top 5 finish in the first heat, and a good second run from the young Swiss driver guaranteed her a career high in Innsbruck, no worse than 5th. Hometown queen Katrin Beil had finished 5th the week before, with Jennifer Onosanya behind her. Their last race before staying in Innsbruck for Christmas would see them finish a strong 4th position with an outside shot at a podium.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Frohe Weihnachten.
But that would require some assistance from in front. Stephanie Schneider making her only World Cup start of the pre-season run, with Leonie Fiebig behind her, 3rd after the first heat. Not the tidiest run from Fiebig, but a strong start, and that would see her guaranteed at least a bronze medal. 2 sleds to go. Kim Kilicki, the silver medalist a week earlier, looking to take the lead of the World Cup rankings from the absent Mariama Yamanka. But she couldn't hold on to her position ahead of Schneider. An untidy second run for Kilicki left her back in 2nd with 1 to go, still in the medals. The previous week's winner, Lara Nolter, with Deborah Levy behind her once more. Again with the fastest start and the fastest run in Heat 1, but a big mistake right at the beginning of Heat 2. And that would seal their fate. They never made up the lost time or speed, slipping behind Schneider for silver at the line. Stephanie Schneider claiming her only win so far of the season in World Cup ahead of Lara Nolter. Kim Kilicki now takes over the lead of the World Cup from Katrin Beil, with Meneli Hassler in 3rd. Saturday afternoon saw the first 2-man race of the weekend. 20 sleds from 11 nations. 22-year-old Swiss Michael Vogt in 5th place after the first of the 2 heats. A week earlier he'd finished tied for 4th on Saturday, an unexpectedly poor 15th on Sunday, but he guaranteed himself another top 5 finish. Ahead of him, a newcomer, Hans-Peter Hanninghofer, making his first ever World Cup start for Germany. The bearded giant had only competed in about a dozen bobsled races up till this point, but he was in shooting for the medals. A good second heat would keep him ahead of Vogt, guaranteed at least a 4th place finish on his World Cup debut. Hanninghofer was just 200ths behind Oskars Kybermanis of Latvia after the first heat. The Latvian had had 2 bronze medals a week earlier in Innsbruck and looked to be on target for a 3rd. A quarter of a second up midway down the run, he didn't lose speed towards the finish line. A 3rd place at least guaranteed. 3 men were on the podium a week ago. Oskars Kybermanis, Johannes Lochner and Francesco Friedrich. They were all in the top 3 on Saturday. Hansi Lochner, after a slightly disappointing top end to the track, dropped behind Kybermanis and despite the best speed, couldn't fight back. He slipped to 2nd. Kybermanis guaranteed at least a silver, Lochner at least a bronze. And then Francesco Friedrich with Alexander Schuller. They'd set a new track record in the first heat. They were chasing the start record in the second heat. They came up 200 shy of that, but dominated proceedings despite a mistake in corner 9 to take an emphatic win. The 32nd of Friedrich's 2-man career. Friedrich winning by nearly 7/10 ahead of Kybermanis and Lochner. Tight battles all the way down the order except for gold, and Friedrich leads the World Cup with 1 more race to go in Innsbruck. The final bobsleigh race before Christmas, the 2-man back in action. Tight battle on our hands with Rostislav Gajčukovic just 900ths from a podium, 5th after the first heat for the 26-year-old Russian sensation. Another huge start, chasing down the medals. Good drive down the track from Gajčukovic left him clear of Oskars Melbardis with 4 to go. Hans-Peter Hanninghofer of Germany, the driver in 4th place after the first heat, where he finished in yesterday's race. But the man from Oberhof with Marcel Kornhardt behind him putting in a great second heat to give himself a shot at the medals. Three sleds remained, all had featured in the podium in the previous 3 races in Innsbruck. Hansi Lochner with Christian Rast behind, finished in 3rd place on Saturday in Eagles, but it looked as though they might be in trouble from Hannikhofer, dropping down until a dead heat at the lie guaranteed them both a medal. Oscar Skiebermanis moved up from 2 bronzes the week before to silver in Saturday's race, and he was in the silver medal position after the first heat on Sunday as well. He had to stay in front of the 2 German sleds to claim that medal, and he did so. 1 sled to go, the Latvian led. Francesco Frugic and Alexander Schuller had broken the track record on Saturday, got close to the start record. They tried again in the final heat, tied a 9-year-old start record but couldn't break it. They didn't break the track record either, but they raced away to a huge victory. The 44th of Frugic's career in 2-man and 4-man in World Cup races, tying the all-time record of Andre Langer. But that start record will have to wait until January. Frugic and Schuller claiming gold, and Frugic leads the World Cup rankings at the mid-season break. That's it from Innsbruck and the 2020 start to the BMW IBSF Bobsleigh and Skeleton World Cup season. We resume our action in early January with the European Championships in Winterberg, Germany.